Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. The topic of China is a very polarizing topic, and that's because it gets politicized and people are kind of forced to one side or the other. And even if they're not on one side or the other, they often get labeled as being that. Now, guys, for me, I've been here in China for over 10 years, and I have a very realistic, objective, fair minded perception of what I believe China to be. It has its good parts and it has its bad parts. Now, in this video, I want to talk about some of the really fucking amazing parts of China. Anybody that's online just telling you that everything about China is so bad, there's nothing good, it's just a terrible place, that is just nonsense. And for the record, I believe that the entire world, every country in the entire world has good things as well. Every place has got its good things and its bad things. So grab yourself a drink, maybe a cup of coffee, maybe crack open a beer, or maybe just sip on some water. If you're Chinese, maybe get yourself a cup of hot water. Kick back, relax, and enjoy this video of me sharing the top 8 things about China that I think are fucking awesome. Number one on the list are the food options. No, I'm not going to be one of these shills that sits here and kisses ass and tells you, oh, every food in China is so amazing. No, trust me, guys. Some of the worst foods that I've ever had have happened to be right here in China. But the thing you've got to keep in mind is how many different dishes there are. There are thousands and thousands of different dishes all around China. I mean, China is a huge country, and their history goes way, way back. And over the millennia, they learned a thing or two about cooking. Also, one thing that a lot of people don't know is that in China, there are 8 major cuisines. And below that, there are even more, and I mean a whole lot more, even like sub-cuisines. Like, for example, on the list of the 8 major cuisines, they don't mention anything about Northeastern cuisine. It didn't make the list, yet it is its own thing. And for a lot of people, that's one of their favorite Chinese cuisines. So regardless of what kind of food you like, you will be able to find lots of things that you really like in China. And it's going to be hit and miss. You're not going to like every dish that you try, but if you keep trying different things, you will come across a lot of really amazing dishes. And this doesn't matter who you are. I believe that no matter where you're from, what kind of food you like, you can find no shortage of foods that you will absolutely love in China. For me personally, I prefer kind of salty and sour flavors. I like something with a bit of kick, some spice to it, a little bit of heat, and China has tons of those options. It doesn't come as any surprise that most of my favorite dishes in China tend to come from the Sichuan region, which is known for its numbing, spicy flavor. I've actually got a video of a food tour that I did down in Sichuan and Chongqing. I highly recommend you guys check it out. You can see firsthand about some of these dishes. So yeah, I've gone on long enough. China has a lot of really good foods. It's going to be hit and miss. It's going to take some time to find the ones that you really like. But trust me, if you're just open-minded and you keep trying, you will see that there are a lot of hidden treasures amongst China's vast culinary landscape. Hey guys, 你们想学中文吗? Do you know what I just said there? I just asked you if you want to study Chinese in Chinese. I personally think you should, and here's why. There are Chinese people all over the world, so your chances to use it are limitless. It could also open up new opportunities for you in life. I have partnered with the amazing team at Excel Mandarin, and I encourage you to go check them out. If you want to learn Chinese, you need to start practicing now. People say it's the hardest language, but do not let that intimidate you. Learning Chinese is super fun, and once you start learning, it just becomes a fun hobby. I learned Chinese on the streets of China, fumbling my way around, and never started with a good, solid foundation. So I had to go back and try to correct all of my old bad habits later on. With Excel Mandarin, they'll take you from zero to conversational in just 10 months or less, and you'll learn from native speakers, so you will learn everything correctly the first time. They have a variety of courses, small class sizes, 24/7 support, friendly, enthusiastic teachers, and a comprehensive website and curriculum that will have everything you need to become a Chinese speaker. They even let you try one class for free, so come on, break out of your comfort zone and give it a shot. You'll thank me later.
Please go check them out today. You can contact them by phone or email. Links below. And oh yeah, I almost forgot the most important part. Be sure and tell them Mr. Chopsticks sent you.
Okay, the second thing on the list that I want to talk to you guys is about transportation, okay? Public transportation. I'm from the US, and where I'm from, everybody drives cars. If you don't have a car, you're going to have a really rough time. Yes, we have public buses in my city, but they just, for lack of a better word, they suck. They're often late, they're unreliable, they don't come that often. The bus stops won't necessarily be anywhere close to where you are. And then when you do get on, a lot of times they tend to attract some of the lowest common denominators of society. And I don't say that as an insult. I don't look down on anybody. But sometimes when I've taken the public bus in my city, I've been on there with some very sketchy people who look like they're ready to start a problem, who appear to be looking for trouble for no reason at all, rather than just being low class, immature, and having nothing better to do, or just being shady characters in general. Some bigger cities do have subways. Like I used to live in New York City. I took the subway a lot. I enjoyed it. But the vast majority of cities in the US do not have subways. And then in terms of getting around, not just within your city, but getting out to different cities, getting out to different states. Well, in China, they don't have states, they have provinces, which are similar to states. Well, in China, the entire country is connected by a high speed railway network. They've got so many of these train stations all over the country. They're so convenient. They make travel so much easier. The prices are affordable, they're safe, reliable, they're newly built. And yes, while they can be stressful to ride sometimes because you're inevitably going to have people sitting around you that are watching videos on their phone with the volume at full blast who refuse to wear headphones. You're going to have people crunching on sunflower seeds all around you. And that stuff gets stressful, trust me. But at least you've got the option to use these trains to get around. For a traveler like me, it's really a great thing to have. I know in the US it's not feasible. I'm not knocking the US, but I'm just saying in China, that's the reality. They've got this massive population that uses the trains a lot, and they come at a huge cost. I've read reports that it's quite a money drain, but China has no choice with a population this big, needing to get around, needing to go back to their hometown during the Chinese New Year. They have no choice but to develop public transportation that's capable of moving mass numbers of people. And like I said, as a foreigner living here in China, a guy that loves to travel, I take full advantage of this. I use the trains weekly, and they are a true blessing to a traveler like me. Now, that leads into a good segue. Number 3 on the list, there are lots of interesting places to travel in China. When you just look at China on a map, it's a massive country. It's going to be cold in the north in the winters. In the south, it's going to be kind of hot and sunny. Think about Florida. Well, China's got their own version of that. If you want to get away from the cold in the winter, you can swing down to Hainan Island off the southern coast of China. You'll see coconut trees growing all around you. You've got the beach out there, kind of a semi-tropical type of environment. Basically, it pretty much feels like you're in Southeast Asia when you're in Hainan. But beyond that, they've got the grasslands of Inner Mongolia. They've got some huge deserts, some amazingly beautiful mountains, especially down in Yunnan province. Or if you go over to Anhui and check out Yellow Mountain, there's the amazing Taishan, which is the mountain range, which is just next to Confucius's hometown. There's just so much diversity of landscape in China and truly a lot of beautiful and interesting places to visit. And that's the perfect segue into the fourth awesome thing about living in China. And that's that there seems to be like an endless history dating back to the earliest of times. You know, Chinese civilization, it's one of the oldest ones on the planet. And the shape and form of China has changed a lot throughout the millennia. China wasn't always the same shape as it is now, but within this vast land, many an empire rose and fell. There were emperors, there were wars, there were golden ages, and then ages of devastation and turmoil. But the really cool thing is that when you're in China, you can actually quite easily go visit some of these places that you can read about in history books that date back thousands of years. You can go walk on that same ground. If you don't know the history, then it's not going to feel like anything. You're going to feel like it's just another place. But if you know the history of it and you go there, it is really an amazing feeling. I mean, let's just take a commonly used example. How about the terracotta warriors? You know, the terracotta army, all those like thousands of uniquely carved statues located over in Xi'an City, Shanxi province. I mean, if you go there, you're stepping back in time. You're looking at statues that were carved to protect the first emperor of China in his afterlife. Folks, these things were carved and made like 200 years before the birth of Jesus. And those very statues are standing there right now. That is pretty freaking cool. And on my channel, I actually have a whole series of videos that are like historically related pieces, videos I've made with the focus on historical aspects. If you're interested in that part of China, I highly recommend you check out some of these videos that I've made because they don't get pushed by the algorithm or anything, but they are just insanely fascinating. I'm sure that you'll like them. The fifth amazing thing about living in China, and this one's going to be kind of like a complete change of topic, but it's just simply foot baths. For me, when the weather's nice outside, I'm out there either cycling or jogging pretty much every day. I do a lot of exercise and I get sore. And one of the things that I love to do to get some relief, and I just think it's good for your overall health, find a good, comfortable, clean, cozy place that offers foot baths and massage. They're easy to find, they're quite affordable. You go in there with your dogs barking, your legs are sore, your body's sore. The lady will get a big tub of hot water. You put your feet in there, and they'll use some of this, like, I think it's kind of medicinal. It's like a milk salt, I think they call it. They'll scrub your feet, kind of exfoliate them, get off the dead skin, clean them, and just make them feel really fresh. They'll give you an amazing foot massage. They'll massage your calves and your thighs. While your feet are soaking, they'll massage your shoulders and your neck. Like I said, it doesn't cost much. It feels great. And I think the health benefits are well worth the money. And those are so readily available from coast to coast anywhere in China. So if you come here, especially if you're an athlete or just like to exercise a lot, you've got to check those out. Sixth on the list of insanely awesome things about living in China is just the convenience of daily life. Like pretty much wherever you live in China, if you just step outside and look around, you're going to see restaurants, little mom and pop supermarkets, convenience stores, pharmacies. I mean, pretty much everything you need is right there. And if there's something that you need that's not right there, you can use an app like Meituan and order it for delivery. And that's not only for food delivery. You can also do shopping at a supermarket. You can load up the cart, make your payment online, and they will deliver that to you. Like even if you just need batteries or like some electronic things, whatever you need, groceries, you name it, you can order it on there and they will deliver it to you. They get it to you quickly. The delivery fee is, well, basically it's almost nothing. And the delivery drivers do not expect a tip. I've even tried to tip them a few times and they've never once accepted it. So things here are super convenient. Now, I don't like to get too lazy and just sit up in my apartment and just order everything for delivery. It is good to get outside and move around a little bit. But even when you physically go, you just walk outside and generally speaking, anything you need is going to be within walking distance. Number 7 on the list, and I don't mean to offend anybody regardless of your body type, but in China there is a lack of obesity. Now, I got to say that the numbers are increasing. You see a whole lot of skinny fat here, but compared to America, for example, it's nowhere close to having the rate of obesity that we do in America here in China. The result of that is that you see a lot of attractive people. So I'm sure for ladies, you'd see a lot of good looking guys, guys that are kind of slim, trim, handsome guys. And for men, you go out, it doesn't matter where you go. You could go to some crappy little convenience store on the edge of town. And more times than not, you're going to walk in and see a female that's like an 8 out of 10. It's pretty crazy. But I've always been a believer that humans in their healthy form are pretty much all attractive. It doesn't matter what country you're in, what part of the world you're from. So the fact that China has a quite low rate of obesity, I think is a great thing. I wish we would put more of a focus on that in the US as well. You know, maybe it's not a good thing to just tell everyone, oh, just accept yourself as you are. Yeah, you should always love yourself. Absolutely. Your level of value as a human being is not determined by how you look or how much you weigh. But, you know, obesity, if for nothing else, it's bad for your health. So anyway, enough about that. I'm going to give you all the 8th thing on this list, and that is the fact that there are no dangerous neighborhoods here in China. That's not to say that everything is perfectly safe and there's no crime or no. I've seen that kind of nonsense online trying to promote this kind of false image that China is a place with no crime and nothing bad can ever happen. Guys, all that stuff is bullshit. Bad things can and do happen every day here, just like any other country. But in terms of like just bad neighborhoods, if you're walking through the city, you don't have to be careful of taking like a wrong turn and walking into a really bad, dangerous neighborhood, because those type of neighborhoods don't exist here. It's not only here. I mean, it's the same in Japan. Actually, I would say it's the same in a lot of Asian countries, and China is no exception. So that's a nice thing because you guys know how it is. I mean, I'm from the US. It doesn't matter what city you go to. Any big city in the US is going to have at least one or two or several bad neighborhoods. Yeah, the vast majority of places are very, very safe, but we also have some really sketchy areas that you just don't want to walk through. It's unfortunate, but that's just the reality of it. We know where we shouldn't go. Well, in China, you don't have to worry about that, and that's definitely a good thing. All right, guys, I hope you all have enjoyed this list. I know this video went on kind of long, but I just have so much to say about it. And I think that a lot of people will be fascinated to hear about this because I'm a guy, look, I'm not fresh off the boat. I'm not fresh off the airplane. I've been here over a decade. I've been all around the country, and I know what I'm talking about. So if you did enjoy it, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. I thank you in advance for that. Also, if you wouldn't mind, please obliterate that like button and drop a little comment, even if it's just a smiley face, just to tickle the algorithm's sweet spot. It kind of likes that, you know? Well, that's going to wrap things up for this video. We'll catch you all in the next one. 下次再见.
I want to give an extra special thanks to all of my YouTube members and Patreon supporters for their help in keeping this channel financially sustainable. Thanks to all of my grasshoppers and tigers, and an extra special thanks to my Pichio gang. And lastly, a huge shout out to my top tier supporters, Lee, Martin S., and David is Dawei. I see you guys, and I just want to let you know I appreciate it so much. Oh, and just so you know, you guys rock.
What do you look for beyond the sea, grasshopper?